Let's get it started in here.
And the bass keeps running, running, and 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 running, running, and
in this context, there's no disrespect, so when I'm...
It's been fun for me to play this game of math and science and then all of a sudden watch this body change just from food, no supplements. And then what happens at the end of the day is that those results you get, you keep because you've changed your lifestyle. You've changed your habits. You know, it takes 21 days to break a bad habit and then 42 to get a new one. Everyone knows that. It's basic science. But a lot of time, you don't have those tools to form the good habits, and that's why I created my company, because for years I just did one-on-one coaching and consulting, and at the end of the day, you know, there's only so much you can do with the advice I give you. There's only so much coaching someone can do, especially with nutrition, because nutrition requires time, cooking, you know, taking that time at home to cook and get Tupperware out and prepare the whole day, the whole week, and a lot of people here just can't do that because they're so busy. And so And then when I started researching the industry and seeing a lot of companies that portray to be that type of company, but then if you really look into the ingredients they're using, they're just all marketing, you know, with really poor ingredients. So I really wanted to create a service that had the right nutrition, the right pillars, the right foundation, all natural ingredients. And if you're not aware of the nutritional foundation of how an athlete should eat, you can make a lot of bad choices. You know, with women and young girls, I see them, because of all the magazines and TV and fads, and they image that whole image thing to be tiny and small, and this is where that whole low carb thing comes in again. And then with guys trying to drop weight, they end up cutting the carbs too much where they cannibalize their muscle. And so you have to be really aware that that's a very sensitive part of nutrition. You know, overeating and undereating is one of the biggest culprits to preventing your body from, you know, excelling to the stage where, you know, hopefully all you guys are here for it, which is to be an elite athlete one day. You know, and recovery and recuperation are probably the two most important things, and it all comes from the food you eat. Well, like before you work out, the number one fuel that's being used is sugar. So you need to be conscious, okay, my body needs energy before this workout so my muscles can contract properly. So if I'm a football player, I would want a football player, baseball player, a hockey player, basketball, baseball, all explosive sports, golf. The energy system that's being used for you guys is the immediate glycolic energy system, and then a little bit of the glycolic. So what you want is a low glycemic and carbohydrate. That's why my bars that you guys, hopefully you guys sampled, one of the best pre-workouts that I've seen out there. That's why I ended up creating them, because when I started researching different products, I just saw the high fructose corn syrup and maltodextrin, which a lot of people don't even realize that's even higher than high fructose corn syrup. Really bad carbohydrates to put in your body. And so I've been using agave nectar for almost 13 years. I mean, it's finally going mainstream, which is incredible. But if you understand nutrition, you look at the composition of how sugar is distributed. You have monosaccharide, disaccharide, and polysaccharide. Those just basically mean how many molecules a sugar has. And agave is a polysaccharide molecule, so which means when it enters the bloodstream, it doesn't require insulin to be digested, which is great for an anaerobic athlete. For an athlete, you want to have foods that are high in certain vitamins that your body uses a lot: potassium, vitamin C, zinc, calcium. And when you get it from food, the absorption rate is 80% or more. From a supplement, 20 to 30%. And then your kidneys and liver suffer. So that's why you see an athlete that focuses on the quick fix. You know, I'm going to take my multivitamin, I'm going to do this shake, I'm going to do all these different things, but they're not eating healthy. They never get ahead. There's different ways to stress a muscle cell, whether it's, you know, maximizing and going over the limit of what your muscles can stand, so it has to create new cells, or you've just really exhausted the ones that you have. This is what happens when you play a sport. And so it's actually a 15 window of opportunity. It's when that venous return starts to kick in, when the body's getting rid of lactic acid out of the muscle. It's looking for amino acids to basically replace, you know, either amino acids that have been lost, or because if you are someone who's building muscle, which is majority of young athletes, whether you're a male or a female, you're building muscle because you're growing. Your body's looking for amino acids to regenerate these new cells, and that window of opportunity is very, very short because the receptors start to close up. You know, and so protein, this is where protein comes into play. So before workout, it's more carbohydrates are more important, right before you're doing a physical activity. So after you work out, carbohydrates are just as important because you need to replace those glycogen storages. Otherwise, that also can get in the way of cannibalizing muscle. But protein is in that 15-minute window. You want to have on your brain, I need to feed my muscles right now, or this whole workout was for nothing. You know, that's kind of how you got to look at it. All this hard work I just put in, this hour and a half, was for nothing. And at this point, you know, your body's going to eat muscle for energy. And so, and again, it depends on the individual, how many grams and all that, the math, you know, the macro ratios, that depends on the individual, the sport. But in your head, you need to know that, okay, I need to put some protein into my body right now. And then carbohydrate-wise, you want just enough just to replace. And again, that would depend on the individual, but say anywhere from 30 to 60 grams is a really good amount, because it's not a meal. When you look at a post-workout, don't even count it as a meal. Just count it as, you know, feeding the body what it needs after it's been, you know, torn apart from the workout. And then it also keeps that consistency of eating every, you know, 2 or 3 hours and keeping that furnace really high. You know, that's where the metabolism can stay at a high peak when you're, you know, you're eating. So on a day, really what someone should be eating is about 6 times on a workout day. And for the day, I knew as I became a nutrition specialist and sports nutritionist, is that you have to enjoy the food, especially with football players that I've worked with, some of these guys, because if you eat bad food, you have this palate for a lot of salt and a lot of fat and a lot of flavor. So to convert to healthy food takes time, but if the food tastes good, that transition is a lot easier. You know, and then all of a sudden you go to eat these other foods you used to eat, and they don't make you feel very good, and they don't taste the same, and you naturally get rid of those bad habits because you enjoy how you feel with the new habits.